And welcome back once again to the PCS Spring Split Finals here. CTBC Flying Oyster are 1-0 up in the series off some incredible execution. PSG will look to try and answer back as they will still be on blue side for game number 2. Everybody, before we get into this one, I do want to thank once again our lovely sponsors, CTBC Bank and Caliber. Thank you for making the PCS possible, and thank you for sponsoring Flying Oyster because this team is absolutely on fire. I love it.
It was a great pickup for CTBC right there, man. I just want to introduce Flying Oysters a little bit more. The reason that they are called Flying Oysters is because in Mandarin, it sounds like we are family. So what that actually is the slogan of CTBC Bank. They want to not just be a financial institution, though they are the best one. They also want to be your family member, and that's kind of the play on words that they made. It actually works in a lot of different ways. It also sounds like faker in Mandarin. So faker is faker, and Mission has been known as the PCS faker. So there you go, just some interesting tidbits, some play on words.
That is really cool. How did I not know this until the finals, Clement? I needed to know this information way sooner, but I'm glad because I would have probably said that every single time they played. Yeah, no, it's really cool. I really love what this team has brought, not just from their players. I love the branding. I love, honestly, just even the aesthetic and the look. It's pretty cool. And I am so excited to see what they can do in Game 2 here. But PSG, they're looking to find answers. They're looking to defend that legacy. They still want to make it to MSI. Let's see if they can pull it out in Game number 2 here. They'll be on the same side in the draft. And I know we talked about how much we really liked their draft. It came down to execution. Would you change anything if you were the coach here?
I'll be honest, I felt like that draft was damn near perfect for PSG. They had the late game teamfight composition, the outscale potential, and they also had the winning mid jungle. So for me, that checks all my marks for what PSG wanted in a draft anyway. The only problem for me, and the biggest one that has been consistent throughout the entirety of playoffs, is just they need to win bot lane. Usually PSG, again, I'm going to say this, but the average stats for Unified in the bot lane is plus 1,000 gold at 15. In playoffs, he's been negative 200. So you can't really play with that sort of a deficit and expect everything to be fine. I do like this change up. They're starting to believe in the Nautilus curse. They're just like, okay, you know what? Nautilus is getting out of hand, but they do give up the Zoe for it.
Yeah, it's always possible that Mission can play that, but I do think it doesn't necessarily fit into what CFO have been able to accomplish more recently, so maybe that's not as much of a risk. More to your point about Unified having a negative trading, a negative CS deficit there in the bot lane in the playoffs, he's played against 2 rookies, keep in mind, Kriskata and now Shun. He's going to try to stick to his guns and go for the Jinx again. I do think this is a good call. It does negate the pop-off potential that Shun can have, unless the Aphelios does it again. But surely that can't happen twice, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's really possible. Like, if you look at how the laning phase went, it's just because Nautilus was able to get those hooks on the AD carry so many times that they won the lane, and that shouldn't happen, I think. But CFO this time around, they are going even lower to the ground. We have the strong engage from the Leona, and I would say Lee Sin is actually Gemini's best champion overall if you look at his career. And that opens up the potential Zoe, which I don't think there will be a counter for PSG, and the potential for even something like a LeBlanc. So PSG, this time around, they have to go later into the game, while CFO are trying to run them out in the pre-30 minutes.
Yeah, that Lee Sin's definitely cause for concern there. I want to see what Juhan does find to answer with it. If he picks the jungle on this particular rotation, he could get his hands on the Hecarim, one of his more successful champions, but he's going to opt for the Viego, so they've got double resets here, and some protection in the form of the Tahm Kench, so this is a bit of a change-up.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Juhan on a carry position, because PSG overall are a team that's quite starved for gold. So I feel like whenever he's on a Viego, it's more like a if I win more condition, but it's not the how should I say it? It's sufficient but not necessary. I think that's the problem for me when he plays Viego. And we have seen this in the past when PSG goes for 4 carries and the early game doesn't go well for them. They just don't have the gold to pass around. They have, the last time we saw this, Viego actually had to build like straight tank after the Divine Sunder. So I'm a little bit worried about this.
Yeah, it's a risky play for PSG. We'll see. As the ban phase 2 enters here, CFO start targeting out Bay as they remove the Vex from the pool. Same thing on the PSG side. They do ban away the Victor. Again, it's the champion that really kind of wrecked their day in the hands of Mission, but I think he's going to be perfectly happy to go on the Galio again if he's allowed it. Do they give this through? I mean, the Zoe's still up, as you said. It feels like Mission has a ton of options.
Yeah, I think Zoe LeBlanc are the two ones that are going to be the most threatening. PSG's comp is very heavily gold reliant. Like, they cannot suffer a terrible early game. They just simply cannot do that. So I feel like the Zoe has to go. If I was PSG, Zoe?
I'm thinking about it here. It's the Orianna, though, and I thought maybe Bay goes back on this champion himself, but no, they're going to opt away from it. We'll probably see him on something maybe like the Rise. Maybe he tries to match Assassin for Assassin with LeBlanc. Hover on the Zoe right now for Mission. Pretty deadly champion in his hands. A couple players here in the PCS certainly make their name on that one. Uniboy, another one to come to mind. Player that PSG became intimately familiar with in a 5-game series last night.
I expect them to just lock this one in. Lee Sin plus Zoe is incredibly dominating in the mid jungle, and PSG just cannot match. The Lee Sin will keep the Viego down pre-6, and I don't know what they will play here. Most likely a Rise. I think
it's base fallback, right? I mean, what else he's got in the pool if he wants to try and play? I don't know, more of a mage into it, but I don't really feel like that's in his wheelhouse so much. So the Rise comes through, no surprises there, and now PSG for their final pick are going to look for Hanabi on a blind. His gangplank was good, but they kind of sacked a little bit when they had a lead. I would honestly love to see something like that again, possibly, but maybe they want a bit more tank stats here. So the Renekton being hovered.
I think they have to consider the potential for Jace on the other side. If you look at CFO's comp, they're low to the ground, early game focused. And PSG, they once again go for full late scaling. Ooh, but this is pretty risky. They're basically gambling on CFO to make a mistake early game. That's kind of the read that I get from PSG. If you just line up the positions, you do expect CFO to actually have a pretty strong advantage mid jungle, and for that to radiate to other lanes, especially when they have this top lane counter pick as well. So I think I have to favor the side of CFO in this one. I feel like PSG, once again, they're running with 3 carries this time around. But it is one where, Viego still needs to snowball a little bit, and it is one to come online quite late. Sure, they have a much better team fight comp this time around, but that mid jungle really scares me when I'm looking across the board.
Yeah, Gemini and Mission have certainly shown that they can get their aggro on early, and Juhan and Bay are going to have to try and stop that one, try to stiff arm it a little bit. Bottom lane has also been a concern, even with this exact composition. I do like the adaptation to take away the Nautilus. It's just been too deadly in the hands of Koala, but he's still got an all-in champion. He's still got the Leona, pretty low cooldowns for that. Maybe it doesn't live as long. Maybe they can try for the outplay. I do think that bottom 2v2 is going to be incredibly important, because if Unified loses out another 2v2, I do think the tilt factor starts to become pretty real.
Yeah, I will say, I think it's pretty difficult for them to lose the 2v2. Both of their champions are actually considered advantageous against their opponents. So this time around, I feel like the only way that... I've said this before, to be fair, but I feel like...
I was getting deja vu for a second. Yeah. Wait a minute.
I've said this before, but I think the only way that CFO win their bot lane is through mid-jungle intervention. I don't expect them to be able to, in any case, be able to 2v2 this one out like they did in the last game. That being said,
all the more reason to hold that line in the mid lane. I mean, I think this is going to rest a lot on Bay and Juhan's abilities. We'll see if the newcomers here, Korean duo from NS Red Force, can hold it up against the side of CFO for Game 2 onto the Rift here of our Grand Finals of the PCS Spring. Advantage for the Flying Oyster, but will PSG be able to ground them?
No, oysters don't really fly to begin with, so
these ones
just saying. That is true.
That's the exception.
CFO.
Okay. All right.
Is there still someone there? They could catch this one out. Oh, the pack goes through.
Okay. All right. He's gonna back away. A little bit of shenaniganery, but he's relatively safe. The orange there as well. I do like that they always keep PSG on their toes. Do get the ward down into the blue pit, so they'll have some information on the jungle start. think this was matched on the other side. Yeah, it was matched. Okay, so both teams.
And just taking a look at the starts here, we are going to get PTA from Shun, so not going for the fleet footwork, usually against the Jinx. You do get pushed in by the Jinx early on with her rocket, so we have seen a lot of fleet footwork starts, but he's happy to go with PTA, and we also have Glacial Augment on Koala. So what this means is that it's a very strong ganking combination for their dual lane. You get the exposure from PTA, you also get the extra slow field, so if there's our ganks going into the bot lane, that could be a potential way for Gemini to start things, even without the help of just the mid lane. And taking a look at the mid lane right off the bat, is pretty sizable lead here for Mission, actually. Wow, that's a...
Yeah. Oh, boy.
It's a 200 HP advantage, just level 1.
Does not bode well. Bay's going to have to get his dancing shoes on to dodge those paddle stars coming through here. One other thing I did want to point out, too, is I think Unified last game went for the heal. This time around, he's on the cleanse. A lot of CC I can come into. So, yeah, it makes a lot of sense here. He did get caught in a lot of CC in some of those extended fights, so I like this change up.
Yeah, just trying to play it a little bit safer and try to hold out until the later phase of the game. I feel like PSG, through all 3 of their lanes, they're just trying to farm up. As long as they can keep track of Gemini, they should consider it a very strong win. They don't necessarily need to gank themselves. All they need to do is make sure Gemini doesn't do anything before level 6.
Yeah, early roam here out of Kaiwing does not get spotted, I believe, on that ward, just on the edge of vision. But they should know this is happening as they don't see him here. He's going to be coming through River Brush, and really no harm done. Unified is pushed the wave up for the time being, although he is getting out-farmed already. And certainly want to keep your eyes on Gemini, as PSG are doing with that ward in the jungle. So this time, a lot better tracking it. Question is it enough to stop what he does next?
Yep. So they should see him coming down here and be very well aware that there could be a gank. As we said before, this gank could be very deadly, and Mission is coming down for the sandwich, though he hasn't backed just yet. I like this play coming in, just to make sure they get the Herald, not the Herald, sorry, the Scuttle soon enough, and so far Mission sitting on 1 extra teleport with the jungle coming down.
Yeah, maybe one day that Scuttle can grow up into a big Herald, but it's just a little baby for right now. Got down in this prime.
Have they officially said if the Scuttle actually grows up to be Herald? I feel like that makes so much sense.
I feel like it's some weird, like, mutant magic or something. Like, that's why Shelly gets so angry, you know? It's like, you know, like in Arcane, you know? You get all the weird, like, Chemtech stuff in and just, like,
yeah, you get the shine.
Become a monster.
Oh, the Shimmer, sorry.
It's the Rift Kaiju, really. Kaiwing goes forward and gets stunned up by Koala, but so far pretty even trades in this lane. You do see the difference is in the potions, as Unified has had heal up just a little bit more. Gemini up towards the top side, but Hanabi staying relatively safe. I don't think a gank would be coming through here too easily anytime soon.
Yep, you know, a double scuttle start from Gemini, but this is completely to be expected. PSG, as long as they, you know, keep the game steady until the 3rd Drake, I feel like they're in a very good position. This is one of the, I would say, the most insane teamfight compositions that you can draft in this current patch. There's zero chance that CFO ever win a 5v5. Given this comp. And now Gemini hasn't backed. And, you know, he's going to lose out on this.
Yeah, Juhan, okay, the smite does go down, so he only takes a couple of chickens, but a lot of damage on his Gemini. He's just been tracked so well by PSG this game. That is the difference from game number 1.
Yeah, really nicely done here. Of course, if he landed the smite a little bit better. And this will force the top lane to play in a more defensive fashion, you know? Usually this Aatrox wants to stay ahead, but he can't push out because he knows Juhan is right next to him.
Okay, ward hops into the Tri-Brush. This is a pretty heavily pushed up Unified Kaiwing. Gemini a little low on health right now, so this is risky, but I think
to grab him. Here we go.
Oh, they miss! Oh no! Koala with the whiff. His mechanics on that Leona. Not quite enough, and Unified and Kaiwing able to get out at the cost of all of their summoners.
Really sneaky gank being done by Gemini. Mission also going to find a great trade onto Bay right here. But to take things into perspective, that is both flashes down from the side of CFO. So PSG, they have to play safe for the next 3 minutes, but it could have been a lot worse than that one. Honestly, if Koala found that initial stun, I believe Unified should have been dead.
Yeah, that Zenith Blade. I mean, we were so used to him just knocking down those dredge lines that the Zenith Blade missing was almost a shocker here. Hey, continues to just tank Paddle Stars after the Sleepy Trouble Bubble lands. Going to be forced to back away and no teleport here to get back into lane. So this might open up the Dragon opportunity. Meanwhile, Rest going a little bit low here. Call the Forge God flashed away. Rest in the World Ender has the sustain, so Hanabi can't continue the fight, but Rest hadn't backed, so that trade a little bit tough for him to take.
Yeah, and he does have to burn Flash for that one. Hanabi can come straight back into lane, so overall I would say, a bit of a win for Hanabi in this one. And he's completely survived the early game. Usually that is the toughest time against the Aatrox, but he's weathered that storm very, very well, and PSG even have the gold lead. So I think for CFO, the name of the game is really moving Gemini and Mission into this bot lane. They already have a quite sizable lead, honestly, in terms of the summoners. They just need to cash that one out, or else PSG are going to be pretty happy with this one.
Yep. So, Dragon, for all of that effort, is what CFO managed to net themselves. That is the Infernal on the map. And it will be an Ocean coming up next. So no Ocean Rift this time around. Can say goodbye to that insane sustain.
Yep. I think, Mountain, or Mountain's probably the best one for PSG, I would say. Hextech is fine, but not... I don't think Hextech is actually critical for PSG, because they should win anytime they group up anyway. So probably Mountain, the best idea for them. In the meantime, Juhan doing another just great round of tracking Gemini, and Gemini understanding that his entire job is basically to utilize PTA and Glacial Augment to gank bot lane again and again and again.
Yeah, here he comes. This time, though, he runs into a control ward, so this is going to be spotted from a mile away by Kaiwing and Unified. Question is, do they still opt into the dive? They've got a pretty big minion wave going here, and Gemini actually going to track Bay, finds him on the Sonic Wave into the Insect from the side, but Bay should be able to get out on the party portal. Nice escape there, although he is still under fire.
Still a small win, I would say, for CFO in this one. They do get the Realm Orb for pretty much nothing here. And in the meantime, Juhan, I think Juhan is playing the map so well this game. It's really smart for him to just roam around wherever Gemini isn't. He's picking up a bit of a farm lead. Oh, but that Yumu's is going to make Mission a little bit too difficult to deal with. I think they have to call it quits.
That's the reset. Well, it was a nice try, and yeah, definitely Juhan having a much better game already as he's just opting to not face off against Gemini. It makes a lot of sense on this Viego. Want to try and get that power farm up. He is going to be able to give this blue buff over. On level 6 now, too, we should start to see him maybe make his presence in a few lanes as ultimates are starting to come online here. Push in the mid, though. It's CFO just having some leads and able to push it in, but no plates established just yet, so the gold game stays dead even.
That was really nice rotation from CFO. They catch up that the mid lane is rotating top. They know that Juhan just backed out of it, so not likely to contest right back again. And they shift their bottom lane there just to take it out. But, ooh, the Super Mega Death Rocket is going to be a little bit late.
Yeah. Would have been great. I love seeing those. It's a little hard to do these days ever since the AoE damage was nerfed, but all the same. Very much a utility ultimate. It used to be for the flashy kills. Nowadays, it's kind of used from everything from trying to steal an objective to trying to shave down some hit points here. Little CS advantage there for Unified as they shove in the wave and go ahead and back. Noon Quiver already completed and the Cloak as well. So Unified's having a pretty decent game. As you mentioned, this is a 2v2 that should not go the opposite way, but not for lack of trying. CFO have certainly tried to make plays. Flash is very close to coming off cooldown, so if CFO want to make another dive down bot, they got to be quick about it.
Yeah, for sure. I think CFO has done a very good job at utilizing Gemini's pressure to then shift the pressure onto the other lanes. That is something that good teams do all the time. You know, once you have a lead, you generate this lead by showing your jungle, you move your bot lane into the mid lane, and then you just take the Herald. So even though they haven't had a winning bot lane duo, because they can shift that pressure around so well with the help of Gemini, they're still able to get things done. And I would say on the flip side for PSG, like Juhan has done a good job just covering his lanes, making sure nothing really happens here. And this is starting to get a little bit scary because PSG, I feel like even without, the 3-item spikes coming in, their 5v5 is just absolutely nutty. Like, if they just start up on Drake, there's very little that I think PSG can do to contest and even win a 5v5.
Well, they'll certainly be trying. A lot of poke damage that they can keep throwing out with those Paddle Stars of Mission, but he hasn't had the same oppressive influence as he did earlier in this game, earlier in the lane. Bay's been able to hang tough a little bit more now, has the Merc Treads too. This is going to be the Herald pop, as they're going to try to shave a few plates off here before the Dragon comes up in about a minute, but Bay looking to defend this. Juhan as well should be able to track him. That's a couple of plates going away. It is shared between Mission and Gemini. It wasn't quite out of the zone yet.
Really nicely done here. A lot of gold onto Mission, and that's going to be a bit scary if he does go in for the Ludens early on. A lot of poke damage coming in. And let's see how CFO play this one out. So they're just basically hypercharging Mission to get his Mythic. I do expect him to be able to get back to base and show up with the Mythic on the next turn here. But, oh, it looks like he's actually in need for a little bit more gold to make that one happen. And that doesn't mean PSG actually come back onto the map in a better spot to take this ocean.
Yeah, that does make the difference. And without a teleport right now, it does mean that he's going to have to walk the long way. Kailing might even interrupt his back. He does. Gets the lick on there, and he can't even complete the paddle star, just a smidgen too short. So it's a great timing window for PSG.
Mission, though, he does have his TP back. Is just using that
there
one.
There goes, yeah.
To is just holding onto the heel with the spell book. So he should be able to join this one and should be able to pop in with the Mythic. That should be a pretty big gold lead. On the other hand, ooh, PSG with the sneaky flip.
Unified going up the long way now. It's Dragon started by Gemini. This might be sacked, but I don't think CFO realized what was happening here. This should be first brick taken down. Rocket's going to fire. Let's see if he can actually get the steal off this time around. It's very low, intercepted by Mission. Perhaps unwillingly, but Dragon for Tower, not a bad trade. PSG, they can't quite finish the job here, but it's going to be very close. Shun's trying to match them.
Yeah, on the flip side, I do think the tower will still go down, but PSG do have that option to just go for the second one as well. So there's definitely a lot of ways to play through this. And I do like this quite a bit because they are just dunking down on Rest. Rest cannot farm, has not farmed for the past 2 minion waves, and he has nowhere to go. So they just take the 4-1 out of CFO's hands. And if the 4-1 goes down, it doesn't matter if your AD carry is fed. You can't split push with your AD carry. And if you can't spread the map, that means you have to run into the 5v5. So this is actually a very smart way to deal with the potential 4-1 composition coming in from CFO.
Yeah, PSG definitely adapted a little bit here as CFO still have the gold lead. The first brick goes in their favor just barely as Shun was able to just throw out Chakram after Chakram. But huge gold infusion into both AD carries right now, and Unified's going to be pretty happy about that one. Rest, as you mentioned, has been denied a little bit of farm here, and he's down about an item. You can see that Bramble Vest on the opposite side. He's not been able to match it here, and hasn't gotten a lot of 1v1s off. Bay's actually waiting in the wings. Juhan incoming, so Rest could be on the opposite side of a 1v2. And they show face here. Rest is going to try to walk away from this one. Overload doesn't hit, but the Rune Prison, point and click. Here comes the World Ender. Will he be able to get the outplay? No, because Unified just absolutely shuts him down with the rocket.
Yeah, that was a bit lackadaisical coming in from Rest. There's absolutely no need for him to be pushing up that close, and he does pay the price for it. CFO, they have no pressure on the map, so that's kind of the thing with Rest. I think he's the closest player to the Shy that we have. He's very good individually. He's got great mechanics. I do think he tends to give away kills where there's not much need to. And I guess it just comes with the entire package.
Sometimes it seems like you can't have one of those tendencies without the other. So it does go in favor of Unified as he's able to snipe down the kill. The kickback, ooh, Juhan denied his own red buff. But I think he's going to be okay as he gets back into the safety of his team. Starting to see Mythic buys come in here. Everfrost picked up by Bay. You already saw the Ludens coming in for Mission. And as it stands, only one kill in this 15-minute game right now. And gold is dead even. The Dragon stack on CFO's side, but they didn't get the mountain that they wanted. Instead, it's going to end up being a Cloud Rift.
Yeah, I think the Cloud does favor CFO a little bit. They're the one that should have control of the split map and do want to play more about converging. Now everyone is funneling into the Herald, and I do think this is a very strong spot for PSG if they don't get poked out.
Okay, Kaiwing does get chunked a little bit here on the Paddle Star. Herald's going to reset for a second. Not quite. PSG wisely, I think, back away from this one. Although Gemini tags in, Mission still threatening another sleepy trouble bubble, but Hanabi is able to get out of it.
No,
going to be the push down the mid.
It's really good play coming in from CFO. They're shoving in the mid lane and also threatening the choke with the poke right here. So PSG, unfortunately, weren't able to clean this one out before they converged, and that just gives Mission way too much room to really work with here. Koala might be in a little bit of danger. He's going to take some pats to the head, and Unified He's
Okay.
totally fine.
Whoa, that was close, but Unified playing on the edge. This time definitely playing with some more confidence on this Jinx as he's already off to a kill start. Big mini wave stacking down bot. Rest is going to try and intercept that one. So it is a 4v5 right now, but the CFO top laner has his teleport if need be. Herald being heavily contested this game, but no one can get an inside track.
Yeah, Mission has just been such a nuisance. Like, PSG as a 5-man against a 4, they 100% should just take this Herald. There's no... Gemini. Okay, Gemini's around. I might be speaking too soon again. No way. Right?
He has the vision on this.
Please, don't Gemini. Don't do this. Don't do this, Gemini. Don't.
Okay. All right. PSG pull it out. They know what happened last time around.
Yeah.
All right. That's gonna be the end of that. No more shenanigans.
I will say that actually ends up. I think it ended up being a pretty costly Herald for PSG because a lot of times they weren't farming during that. CFO actually able to stretch out the gold lead quite a bit during that. They were actually down in gold, but after the play, they're now up about 600 just from farming gold. So quite well done, I think, for CFO, especially from Mission, just making it really hard to take that Herald outright, even though PSG by all rights should just take that one. So I think CFO helped dealt with that one really well, and now we're coming into the most important objective here, the third Drake. This one, if PSG let this one go, there is so much pressure on them. Granted, it is a Cloud Soul, which I don't think either side's particularly super happy about, but it's still something to point note of. And it looks like CFO are actually willing to give up their mid just to steal this one down. Very interesting.
Yeah, this is going to be the Shelly charge, so they'll be able to take this one. Ooh, the flash over Bay! Ooh, Shun answers immediately, but Bay could definitely smell the kill right there as the Sleepy Trouble Bubble lands right in the middle of PSG without tagging anybody. They'll back off after the play as the Dragon is traded over. PSG, though, going to try to take as much jungle away, establish some control here. Mission always threatening, but they found Rest on the side. He's able to limp away. Red buff should be smited down. Koala still threatening himself, and Mission just keeps on looking for snipes, but he can't quite find him.
Yep, hasn't really gotten anything just yet. Now Gemini trying to come in and find Unified here. This could be a little bit dangerous. Unified's gonna be fine,
thought he was going a little farther forward. Ooh! One more of those, and he's a dead man.
Oh, Hanabi timed that perfectly, is able to get out of the sleep. That's the thing about Zoe, you think that she's fine, she hasn't gotten any kills, she isn't getting snowballed, and out of nowhere, it just takes your 80 carry down to 30%.
Yeah, Call the Forge God is going to be whiffed, unfortunately. So CFO do equalize the tower in the mid. There goes the Jinx Rocket to send them on their way, and still, PSG, they have pushing side lanes. They've managed to turn this once again, and Flying Oyster are going to have to react here. They want to hold on to teleports if possible.
Yeah. Overall, it's looking at that trade, I think both sides got what they wanted, but the next Drake is going to be very dangerous for CFO here. There is a potential line for PSG to not even try to contest if they're too far behind. Like, it's not a must that they deny the Cloud Soul. And if you look into the future, 10 minutes down the line, even game, you go into an Elder, you should feel super confident if you're PSG. So I still feel like the onus is on CFO to actually get more done with their composition.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't got a kill this game. This is a very, very different tempo than we've seen in the series game number 1. And it's just been PSG stiff-arming really, really well this time around, as they'll be happy with the scaling they have on their side. We get closer and closer to that 20-minute mark. Level 11 starting to come in for some of the players here. Of course, Mission already on 13. Bay, as he picks up his Seraphs, I believe has matched that. There we go, yep. But PSG doing a great job keeping waves cleared. It means that CFO have to scatter if they want to come back and do it. 2.5 minutes on that Dragon before it goes, but Baron's on the rift. Neither team really in a position to try and threaten it, of course, just yet.
Yeah, so we are going in for a bit of a slow game, and I like what PSG are doing right now. They're clearing with Unified, but Kaiwing is just behind him. He's got his flash there. CFO, it's very difficult for them to engage on this one, and you also see Mission on the side lane matching, so there's really no threat in this mid lane. They can just draw this one out. And I do like Bay has gotten himself a very good amount of CS as well. He's actually leading both solo laners against CFO. That means that he can play the stretched out game with him and match CFO, even if the rest can no longer be contained by the Ornn.
On the side lanes, CFO like to live if they can, but PSG just keep dragging them all over. Ward going to get cleared out by Koala there. You see a couple of controls over and around the Baron pit for PSG. Koala should be able to find at least one of them. It's relatively safe as the back timers had gone in. Still a minute and a half. Keep your eyes on that Dragon Pit once it comes up in 90 seconds. Unified, though, racing to his third item. Looks like he's a little bit ahead even if he doesn't have the items in for himself compared to Shun. He does have the better farm for the time being and a kill to boot, so he should be able to complete his a little bit sooner.
Yep, both AD carries did get a full tower to themselves, so they should be relatively equal. But as you said, with Unified slightly ahead right here, and we're just waiting for the fireworks. 1 minute into countdown. So far, PSG have the dominating lead in terms of vision on both objectives. So there's a lot of different ways they could play this one. They could use the tricky Realm Warp, and they have the damage to actually sneak a Baron as well. So CFO have to keep that in mind. They need mid control before they really move into either side of the map. I think if they full tunnel onto Cloud Soul, PSG will just take Baron.
And PSG have just done such a great job of keeping waves pushed, especially. Like, their side lanes have been doing really well, but at the same time, they've also kept the Jinx and the Tahm Kench in the mid. And Unified's been so good at his positioning this game. I know we criticized a little bit last game where he was getting a bit desperate. We've seen in the playoffs, he hasn't really been feeling as confident. This is the much more controlled, difficult to execute Unified that we have come to expect. However, it's not always safe against the Zoe. Here's the engage. Juhan looked for Gemini, decided he didn't want that one, and in a little hyphy here, 10 seconds till the Dragon. Keep your countdowns going.
Yeah, but PSG, most importantly, they are in position right here. Bey is able to push out the bot wave and match the Aatrox. So a full 5v5 fight, I think unless Gemini has some more shenanigans, this should go very comfortably to PSG.
Yeah, it does, and they still want to chase this one. I don't know how I feel about it. Looks like they might have been sniffing for a pick. It's not going to result in anything. PSG cleared that Dragon away way too fast, and now it means the Drake timer is reset.
I think the best that you can do as CFO is just try to stop some backs here, get vision on Baron, but that really is about it. Bey could be in a little bit of trouble, but we do have the TP from Hanabi on the other side.
Ooh, it's a flank.
And an engage.
Okay, Bey coming through here, looking for Shun. Gemini has surrounded him. Who's flanking who? It looks like they don't know he's there.
They know for sure. They know.
Okay, they walk out.
Yeah, you can tell. It does show up in Fog of War, so you know that the flank is coming. But it's still pretty risky. They run away, and now Gemini's the one caught.
Well, he didn't know he was there this time around. Oh, okay, good kick out. Has to flash. Burns a lot to escape here. You can see PSG, they're the ones with the moment to strike. Setting up on this Baron right now. Hanabi had burned his teleport. He won't be able to join this Baron, but still with 4 members strong, they're shredding it pretty quickly, and Rest is nowhere near this team as well. Now they realize, can Gemini risky. Maybe be the hero? No, can they maybe get the teleport play in to peel them off? They're holding it, but that's going to be the turn. PSG are out.
Yeah, I don't think that PSG really wanted a full commit to that one. I'm not sure. I think that was an opportunistic play. Just see, like, oh, maybe Gemini did go back. If he did go back, then, this is ours. But if not, we're going to play this one safe. We're going to back out. You really don't want to be caught in a pit versus Mission. And also Shun flanking on the other side. I will say, though, for this game, I don't think Mission's done enough with his accuracy. He's just not been able to find any of his targets.
That's going over for Ban Juhan. They're going to keep threatening over at the pit. It's not safe. Yeah, and I think this is kind of proof in the pudding right now that the Zoe ban may not have been justified in game 1, and Mission has a very large champion pool. He can play a lot of champions from control mages to carries to assassins, what have you. But the Zoe, even though it has a lot of snipe potential, it only matters if you can hit it.
Yep. And this has been the 6th game between these two teams in playoffs, and the first time Zoe has been let open. So if they don't find results with this one, I feel like PSG are in a very good spot in terms of the draft. I already felt like they were winning draft to begin with. And if Zoe can be left through, then that's just another piece that they can potentially ban away on other spots. They could even consider on blue side just banning the Aphelios, and it would put Shin in such an awkward position and almost force a match ban on Jinx. And
Shin hasn't really been allowed to just fully pop off on this one right now because PSG has had a better team fight. As they chase down the line here with the minions, here comes Gemini, finds the Sonic Wave, and Call the Forge God, forces the flash away from the Aphelios. That's going to be the inner tower taken, teleport respawn. They try to counter-engage, dodging away from the Solar Flare, and CFO just do not find their mark.
Yeah, their 5v5 is way too strong at this point. They're just rolling across the map. The only hope for CFO, I think, is to, like, sneak the Cloud Soul somehow and then get back into the game, but they can't contest with PSG just grouped up like this. Mission doesn't even have the damage, I think, to threaten the backline at this point.
Yeah, and Mission just hasn't been able to find his mark right there. I mean, the few times we've seen it's been close to executing, but hasn't quite taken. Of course, he can find Hanabi, but he can always shrug off the Sleepy Trouble bubble as well, so... You can see PSG, they're pinging that, in another 80 seconds, that's going to be another dragon they want to try and take away, but they can throw their weight around here.
Yeah, and another point to mention here is just Aatrox. If you look at his build, he has no magic resistance. So the way Bay is itemized, he can hold this Aatrox forever, indefinitely. He's very comfortable in doing so. He does have the anti-heal built in already. So he's, like... There's just no winning tact here from CFO outside of some really crazy Zoe play.
Well, trusting in Mission certainly has been a good strategy, but they've been very stymied this game. It's such a quiet one compared to the absolute banger we had in our opening bout. But right now, PSG, they're controlling the pace. They are just showing CFO that they can't really fight them. They're just stiff-arming them the entire time and keeping at arm's length or at, like, Sleepy Trouble bubble length. Mission can't find a target.
Yeah, and now they should have a decide advantage once more. I'm very curious on CFO how they play this. I think their best tract is to actually herd PSG across the map and just use those vision advantages that they will get if they force an overload on either side. But PSG are going to find this one out, and they know the most important objective here is actually going to be the Baron, so they're not going to fully commit on the mid as on this Drake either. They're just going to try and shove this one in, and wow, what a ballsy play here by CFO. I don't think this is worth it, though. It's going to be super risky.
It is risky. Spotted out, but they actually redouble their efforts, go right back onto it as they do land a Sleepy Trouble bubble. Juhan forced away. Here comes the Jinx Rocket going to find Gemini a little bit low. Here comes the fall. Call the Forge God. Gets a 2-member knockup right now. CFO heading for the hills. Chains are going to land. Rest. Unified already chunked a little bit, but the Baron is resetting. Everybody battered and bruised, but still alive.
Yeah, taking stock of the situation right here, you do have a lot of ultimates being burned here from PSG, so CFO most likely want to continue kind of this scrappy, skirmishy fight. Even though they don't have the better 5v5, because so many resources were utilized, they feel like they have a chance here, and Unified doesn't have natural sustain outside of the red buff that he just got.
CFO are backing. Well, okay, just Koala and Shun for now, but I think they're going to full commit to it. This is a free dragon take. PSG, call the bluff.
Very nicely done. CFO, I sense that they're getting desperate. They know this, they're on a bit of a timer right here, and nothing has gone well for them. I actually expected them to stay closer to CFO, to PSG right there, and not allow the backs to go through. They could have continued to harass them, and there was no engaged potential on PSG, but I think they got a little bit scared of that situation, and it does allow CFO to, once again, drag the potential Cloud Soul away from them.
They'll get a top tower for it, but it's tier 1. Start off on the Baron. This is very late, though, and it is very obvious, despite the vision not being in their favor. Mission is going to fish for a pick here. As it Yomas as well. Jinx Rocket finds him. Instant peel off. And CFO are routed once more.
And the build this time from Shun is a bit different. I don't think he went BT second here, so he's not going to be able to sustain up. PSG, if they, CFO, if they full back, PSG could just turn around and start wailing on this one.
Yeah, Koala's actually stopped his back. He's going to reset it now again. But it does seem like, unlike last game, it's PSG forcing CFO to dance to their tune. That's going to be the Baron started. Here we go.
It is going to be spotted out right away. And, this is very risky for both teams here. We are going to see if the flank can go off.
Call the Forge God, rest. Koala, Gemini do get knocked out. The Baron's going to reset. Rest on the wrong side of this fight, though. He's going to try to escape.
I think he's out.
Over the wall. Does manage to get out. Ornn disregard the bubble. And we have ourselves a good old PCS Baron dance, Clement.
I do want to mention the way PSG lost their last BO5 was by over-chasing someone around the Baron pit. And CFO were like, oh, thank you. They just gave up their support and took the Baron. So I think PSG are playing this one a lot more carefully this time around, and they're definitely not going to fall for the same trick, right?
You have to think. Oh, rest. He goes in. They want to take the fight right now, and the World
catch.
Ender does go on as he tries to turn out and away, dodges out the rocket. They get 2 ultimates out of PSG for the price of, well, 2 as well, as Gemini already burned his Dragon's Rage. And on the chase, PSG Talon.
They have to go right back to it. They know he doesn't have the TP. They can start this 5v4.
Absolutely. Gemini is nowhere near this. He realizes it's happening. If he wants the smite steal, he's got to get his rear in gear.
Mission does have the smite here, so one thing.
Okay, big sleepy trouble bubble. Juhan's out. Okay, that does equalize things a bit.
This game is so interesting. 31 minutes and only 1 kill. And the only reason I feel like CFO has been able to stay here is just because Mission has been finding critical... he hasn't found kills, but he's been finding critical captures.
He's threatening. Okay, they actually do manage to go in on that massive Leona ultimate, but will he be able to find the kills? Here comes the call of the Forge God, getting a 3-member knockup. Leona
Koala
still
could just be going down here.
Goes into stasis. He should be dying after this one. Flashes Rune Prison. They have the damage to finish the job.
Rest
around the side, looking for Unified, but he flashes away to safety. He finds one.
Yes,
Juhan down. May and stasis. Here they go. They're looking for the 5v5 outplay, and they get the shutdowns.
So many ultimates burn on the front line, and Rust is able to find his way past the tanks. CFO just come out of nowhere and stop PSG into the ground.
How do they do it? They should not have been able to find that fight, but the flank angle for Rest was gorgeous, and he bought enough time, even a member down. This is going to be the spoils of war. The Baron completed, and CFO, they still have a way to go, but they are right back into this game and even finish the Baron up in time for Koala to get it.
That wasn't even a TP from Rest. That was straight Rest just walking around and surprising people. He didn't even have the teleport in that one. He just makes the way across. Look at Rest here. This is some 200 IQ play. PSG are so focused on killing Koala and holding down the flank, they forgot that Rest could just come around, and he finds Unified. They burn both summoners right off, and Gemini is like, well, that's the goal signal. He goes straight for the assassination, plus Shun also flashes across the wall. They take the main damage dealer off, and once again, PSG just get bamboozled around Baron.
This time for the fight, it ends up trading 2 for 4, but the Baron on those remaining members of CFO, they are in this game. 3 kills now on the side of Shun as he was able to complete it up a big old bounty on a 4-item of Felios here. Teleport, what's happening right now with the Zoe? They're going to make a beeline for the Soul.
Yeah, and I don't think that they have spotted this one out. They don't seem to notice that this is coming, or they're not willing to fight for it, so... The Souls should just go right over to CFO. The backs have already gone in, and that's just not enough time for them to reset. I guess PSG are reading, well, we don't really have the vision control here. The waves are pushed in, and honestly, Cloud Soul doesn't matter that much. So they're kind of saying, like, okay, we'll let this one pass. But we still have to remember, PSG, in my eyes, still the dominating 5v5 if they're able to hold their front. That's the most important thing here. The last time it worked was because CFO was somehow able to just walk past Hanabi and Kaiwing and find Unified directly. It shouldn't be that easy come these siege situations.
Yeah,
here goes
right
the engage.
Now, here comes the fall. The fall of the Forge God once again. That Realm Warp is not going to be taken. They find a Sleepy Trouble Bubble onto Juhan. If he gets deleted, it definitely removes some of their power. Mission is zoned out of this fight as that was a massive Super Mega Death Rocket. That's going to stop the back here, but look at Gemini on the mid. Solo Mission finds himself a turret.
This is incredibly ballsy play from CFO. If that engage went through, they should have been wiped, and we have to remember, that was one auto attack, plus the R. That nearly just killed Mission straight out.
Unified's big.
Yeah, this is... I don't think they're going to find any more easy fights after this one, and Koala's caught with the red buff.
Ah, he's dead. Yeah, Unified gets himself a reset. There's the Moonlight Vigil, but I don't think he'll be able to get any more damage after the fact. You do have Gemini just dealing with Hanabi here. Mission going to come in. I don't know if they have enough to finish that. Oh, Hanabi getting so low. The Baron empowered minions will be able to take the tower mid. They pay for it with Koala's life.
And
Back.
Gemini,
Gemini
might not get out of this one.
Yeah, I think he's going to die too. Oh, wait a minute.
What?
Oh, the burn. Okay.
So... interesting way. I feel like CFO are very much aware that they can't take the 5v5. Their comp is so much weaker. So they're just trying to play the sneakiest game of all. They're just sending 2 people around here and there and trying to catch things out. But Leona's a very different champion from Nautilus. You know, she doesn't have the potential to just Spider-Man on out of there. So PSG at this point, you just saw Unify 4-shot at Leona. I still think PSG have a very good chance of winning this one if they can make their way into the Elder Dragon. That's going to be the most important point. I think the Baron, even if it goes to CFO, it would be a great boost for them, but they're not likely to close the game off of that one. So the Elder Dragon, I think, is eventually what it's going to come down to. And if PSG can hold their ground there and keep Unified safe, as they should be able to, they have such a massive lead just in terms of the comp and in terms of those ornaments.
They've really got to watch their 6, though. I mean, that flank by Rest was brilliant, but if he gets away with it again, it's unforgivable, right? That's when you start to get into the minds of PSG talent. But they do have the lead, they do have the scaling, they do have the edge, and yeah, you called out the Masterwork items. They're pretty much on everybody but Kaiwing right now. Ooh, here we go. Gemini, he was around the side sniffing for something as a follow-up if Mission landed the bubble. Unified was on the front, but he's flanked by the rest of his team, so nothing doing, no opportunity there.
And Mission has to be so careful with this one as well, because he can't take auto-attack poke from Unified. If he takes 2 auto-attacks, he needs to go back to base, and 3 auto-attacks will kill him. So I think the Zoe, she can only operate out of blindside vision. She can't even get close to the composition anymore, and you can see CFO playing very safe around that, but they could be in trouble, or the other way around.
Okay. Keeping a pretty good spread here in the PSG jungle. I was keeping my eyes on Hanabi there because I thought PSG was trying to set up for a flank, a long flank, but it didn't happen. Just taking away jungle, trying to control the vision, see if they can set it up, and clearly aiming for that tier 2 down bottom right now. Buying some time. Obviously, Elder's still about 2.5 minutes away. Nothing else to take on the map until the Baron comes up.
Oh, this gets spotted, though. So Russ could be in trouble, and so is Shun.
Yeah, uh-oh. Shun is out in no man's land. He gale forces away. Will he get out of there? Just out of tongue lash range. Oh, that was close. But meanwhile, Rest is going to get 1v2'd. He might want to take this one right now because Juan, a little bit late to the party, and the World Ender just has a lot of sustain. Mission is low. They actually just buy enough time for Rest to escape. So close, but now Mission might bite it. The rest of CFO are here covering their tracks. But that was close.
Yeah, that could have gone so poorly, and unfortunately for PSG, not able to find the slows or stuns right there. Shun with the Cloud Soul actually able to walk away, so I'm sorry, Cloud Soul, you actually are pretty useful at times. And,
worth.
yeah, that all started from Koala. He needs to be very careful about where he backs. He backed on the ward, and PSG just instantly hit the go button, so good find on their part, but unfortunately they're not able to burn any flashes here. I think that was something that they definitely wanted to look for.
Alright. Ward Wars happening once again here as the Baron is on the Rift. 39 minutes. Rest. Look at the flank angle right now. Would love to try for the wraparound once more. There are a number of wards that PSG have to work with. They know where the rest of CFO are. They have to have an inkling that the Aatrox is
Rest
here.
gets caught here. This could be really bad. Is he just allowed to walk away?
Yeah, he's out. He's out. All right. Rest gets away with a lot of stuff he shouldn't.
He also gets punished for a lot of stuff he shouldn't do, too. So
yeah,
it's a fine edge. It's a fine edge for sure.
Yeah.
But CFO do win out on that round. You know, they wrestle back control of the Baron. At least they are able to make vision on both sides. And for CFO, I think one of the better situations is if they can get a split objective map. Like, PSG still need to think about the potential for Gemini steals and stuff like that, while on the other hand, Shun, with his bid, should be able to chunk down Baron very, very quickly. So if it does come into split focus, there's a lot of interesting ways that they could play with it, and this is going to be about the IQs now. There's so many interesting facets about this. There's the Realm Warp you have to consider. There's the stacked objectives that are coming up in 10 seconds. Does look like CFO are going to beeline for the bot side, though.
Yeah, but you can see Bay's already here down bottom. He can try to sandwich them himself if he wants to, but okay. Elder Dragon on. They're going to proc it here, and Mission. Oh, dangerous game he's playing, but he's running for the hills. Here comes the call. The Forge God gets a 2-member knockup, but they can't engage it right now, and Mission is still finding poke. This may come down to a smite fight.
Yeah, Mission just took 700 damage from one auto attack from Unified, though Hanabi no longer has the main engage tool. I felt like he was a little bit wishy-washy with that one. He let it go a little bit too early, and now Rest has a chance to come back into the flank. He's going to stop the TP potential.
Yeah, Hanabi can't quite back away right now. The 1v1 of the top laners continues as this Dragon is down to 5,000. A lot of damage being pelted on. Moonlight Vigil gets burned. Here comes Mission around the side. Oh, he goes so low. This should be the go button
Gemini,
right now for PSG.
Just go down. He's down.
As they open it up, Hanabi getting Gemini. No spite available, but the fight turns around. Once again, CFO are looking for it here in the 3v3. They shut Unified out in this one, but can they stay alive?
It's still 2v1 and carries.
But whose world will be ended today? I think CFO are going down.
Oh, beautiful play coming in right there. And that's the power of late game Unified. He's able to just chunk these carries through. Mission goes over the wall, gets 2-shot, nearly dies. The Elder Dragon, I'm not sure if they can't finish or not, but they're straight ahead going for it. It's going to be
19 seconds.
15 seconds here on Gemini. They don't have their AD carry in this one, so it looks like Inhibitor, but the base is going to be a little bit difficult, I think.
Yeah, they're not even going to try for it, but they do manage to crack the inhib. Look at the teleports immediately trying to double dip on this one as they'll bring Unified up in 10 seconds, starting off the Elder immediately. PSG do make a decisive swing. It's a 42-minute game, Clement. This series definitely giving us some heart palpitations.
Yeah, we just saw Juhan had such a good start of the fight right there. He's basically able to double up as a secondary AD carry. And now CFO are in a lot of trouble because the Elder Dragon could just give an easy Baron over towards PSG. We're going to watch this fight again. I just think Unified did such a good job at finding those critical auto attacks. CFO, they try to poke with Mission, but as we said, this is so dangerous for Mission to actually do here. They missed the Moonlight Vigil. Definitely should have held on to that a little bit longer. And watch, that's just actually just one auto attack. And then 2 auto attacks by Gemini. He's nearly dead. They get the smite fight right off the bat. And even though Rest does such a good job at killing the targets early on, Bay is able to then go back and trade out on the side of the Aphelios there. So Juhan able to pick up as a secondary AD carry and finish things off. And with the Elder Dragon, that means the Baron goes their way as well.
So, PSG, a hard-earned fight, maybe harder than it even shouldn't have been at this point in the game. They are able to clean up both the objectives on the map. CFO are going to be on the defensive for a little while, though Rest has clearly not gotten the memo.
Cut the wave?
Oh, man.
PSG can actually just march down the lane and win the game. I feel like that's probably the best move they can go for. They're going to have the Elder Dragon.
Ooh,
oh, they stopped the back.
Stopped. Great ult from Unified to stop this. Here comes the Baron push. There's a Zoe on the flank, but they don't care. Kaiwing flashes, misses the lick. It doesn't matter.
The Unified gets hit, though.
Going, but here we go. They're trying. It's Gemini going in for the play. Koala absolutely melts, but
3v5, Unified still alive.
Are going down. Rest falls, and that is the outscaling. The triple kill for the Jinx keeps on going. The ace comes through, and PSG Talon fire right back.
The superior late game still comes out to win it. This one was a very slow early game from CFO. They weren't able to get anything to go. And PSG, they proceeded with their offense by playing stellar defense, not giving anything over. They outscale, and they know that the Cloud Soul isn't all that important. So very critical calls on how they wanted to play the objectives. This is the PSG we wanted to see. They're slow and steady, but it feels inevitable.
Just did not give CFO a lot of openings. Some miracle almost fights there from CFO up against the stellar 5v5 didn't quite pay off. Man, Rest, absolute honorable mention for some of the crazy outplays that he was able to accomplish. Mission on the Zoe didn't do nearly enough, even though he threatened time and again. But we questioned last game if Unified was gonna be in trouble, if he was gonna shift away from the Jinx, and he has proven us naysayers wrong, Clement. In this game, Unified is right back on point.
Yeah, so well done coming in from him. The rapid fire cannon and the extra auto attack range really neutralizes Mission on a lot of these poke attempts. And I think the big thing about PSG playing this early game was that they recognized they could swap early, and I think that was such a smart play. The swap did multiple things. Number one, it took away the potential for Zoe to actually do a 4v2 dive on the bot lane. And the number two thing is because of the preemptive swap that they did, they actually shut down Rest this game completely. Rush should have been able to run away in the mid-game with this matchup, but because he was denied so many minion waves earlier on by the preemptive swap, he wasn't able to get that one going. And then they matched the Rise against the Aatrox. That was another really smart thing. Rise was building double armor items against 0 magic resistance from the Aatrox. So a lot of smart moves, mainly based on macro decisions coming out from PSG.
And that is what PSG are known for this split, right? They have been our number one macro team in the regular season. We've seen them still do well in the playoffs, even when they've had some mistakes. They make decisions and they stick to them pretty well. We talked about how communication issues can hamper them based on some of the language barriers, but they seem to be on the same page this time around. And when they don't get set too far behind and are put into these chaotic situations, they still manage to take the win. And yeah, kudos to CFO. I mean, they found a couple miracle fights. I think Rest, again, was really setting up a lot of those great flank angles. Maybe PSG need to work a little bit on their vision game, tracking out Rest. They did keep Gemini under lock and key for a lot of that early game too. So really good job neutralizing the early game dive potential on all fronts.
Yeah, just really nicely done on there. I think the thing about PSG is they know when to trade objectives and when they don't need to fight for things. They can just wait things out. So I feel like for CFO, because they are going to most likely going to go on the blue side, that would be my estimations. I sense that this series is going to shift into its next phase, where both of these teams are going to be looking for the late game edge. What PSG clearly knows that they're not great at playing tempo. But if CFO can corner them by out late gaming their comp, that is going to be super interesting because PSG will have to react in different fashions.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting adaptation. I would love to see the flip up on the side. I think CFO, this red side preference may have run its course here, and the Aphelios just didn't get to do nearly as much. Shun wasn't quite in position because his front line wasn't nearly as big. He just couldn't take the 5v5s, and look at that Jinx damage at the end of the game. You know, we were seeing Rockets just shred hit points, and yeah, you can't out-sustain that, Aatrox.
Definitely not. It's 2 auto attacks on mission, and he's going to go down, so I do think that we could be seeing blue side a couple things. I think Jinx is going to be very highly contested. And I also feel like the Victors and Orianos are going to come back for the side of Mission because he can consistently win lane on both of these champions without going for a tempo pick either. And CFO still have to respect the Syndra, most likely. So I think we are going to go on to the next stage, the stage where I predicted where both teams are going to try to play the slowest game possible, but CFO are going to come out still with the edge because they still have the winning lanes.
Well, we'll see if your prediction comes through, but for right now, Clement, we have absolutely got a series 1-1. There will be no more sweeps here, and I cannot wait to see it. Slow and steady wins the race, though, for sure. 44-minute win for PSG in this one. A very different style of game in game number 1, but we'll have to see how it all shakes out. I'm curious to see who ends up with the MVP for this one. I mean, I feel like it's unified by default because this was a team that just kind of worked as a well-oiled machine, and he was the pop-off player that Juhan really did just kind of go into a more tanky build on his champion after a little while. But, you know, he still was threatening. He still got the shutdowns a couple of times, but that Viego, definitely not the big carry. It's actually a Navi that gets the MVP. I mean, it makes sense. His Call of the Forge God set up a lot of those fights.
I will have to say, I feel like a Navi actually used his ultimates way too early in the majority of these team fights. So I'm a little bit surprised by this one. I would have liked Juhan to take this one, but, you know, he does have a perfect KDA. I mean, he can't complain with that, I guess.
Shh, don't leak our formula for deciding MVP.
Oh, sorry.
No, but Hanabi, like, I do like him on Ornn. I think this is a guy who you know, he has his carry champions. He's probably the best Gnar in the PCS as well. But when he gets a champion like this Ornn, when they set up the 5v5s, it's definitely in PSG's favor. Maybe he's a little liberal with them, but that's okay.
Yeah, this one definitely much more of a team effort, I would say. So I think whoever gets the MVP, it's pretty much fine. But I think for Game 3, my prediction is just this. Blue side going to go for CFO. CFO are going to try to outvalue PSG in the draft by going even later and most likely take the Jinx.
All right, well, we'll see if your prediction comes through, but we got to take a quick break first. Don't go anywhere. You won't want to miss it.